Comments for the week ending November 27th from the Beef Farmers of Ontario. There were 314 head of fed steers and heifers sold through auction markets last week, down 56 head from the previous week. Fed steers averaged $291.37 per hundredweight, down $7.43 per hundred, and fed heifers averaged $291.05 per hundredweight, down $6.87 per hundred from the previous week's trade. Auction markets reported that fed steer heifers traded lower due to pressure from the CME cattle futures and the American Thanksgiving holiday. In Ontario, there was no new trade to report. Producers were making inquiries, but one packer was not bidding on cattle. For the week ending November 15th, Eastern fed cattle and cow exports to the U.S. were 3,952 head, steady with last 32% above the 5-year average. Year-to-date, Eastern fed cattle and cow exports were steady with last year. Cull cow receipts sold through auction markets last week were 2,764 head, up 63 head from the previous week. Cows averaged $161.98 per hundredweight, down $5.39 per hundred. Beef cows averaged $171.38 per hundredweight, down $1.16 per hundred from the previous week's trade. Auction markets reported on Tuesday the fed cows sold slightly easier. By Thursday, fed cows sold at steady prices. Total receipts were 10,543 head last week. Receipts of 5,691 stocker and feeder cattle sold through Ontario auction markets, up 447 head from the previous week. Auction markets reported on Friday, November 21st, that calves sold steady, with second-cut cattle selling easier. Yearlings sold steady. By Thursday, calves sold steady, with better calves selling slightly higher. The Quebec electronic market prices were not available at press time. Last week, Alberta fed steer and heifer prices closed the week averaging $2.94 and $2.92 per hundredweight respectively, down around $2 per hundred from the previous week. Dress sales were reported from $4.90 to $4.95 per hundredweight delivered, steady to $3 per hundredweight lower than the previous week. Cattle that traded were scheduled for the second half of December delivery. Over the past couple of weeks, producers have been negotiating flat bids with no heavyweight carcass discounts, while others have requested carcass weight discounts to be moved up to 1,100 pounds. By Thursday, November 27th, light trade developed, with dress sales reported from $4.75 to $4.85 per hundredweight delivered, $10 to $15 per hundred lower than the previous week. For the week ending November 22nd, Western Canadian fed processing was 38,348 head, 14.5% lower than last year. The U.S. cash cattle trade last week saw dress sales in Iowa and Nebraska reported at $3.30 per hundredweight, $15 per hundred lower than the previous week. Live sales in the north were from $2.08 to $2.10 per hundredweight, $8 per hundredweight lower. Live sales in Texas and Kansas were from $2.15 to $2.22 per hundredweight, $4 to $7 per hundredweight lower. U.S. steer carcass weights increased 6 pounds to average 986 pounds, a new record high. Despite more fat coming off of these carcasses, the U.S. 50% trim market continues to be impressive, with prices 135% higher than last year. This is Jamie Kerr with the Beef Farmers of Ontario Market Information Report.